Derby County host Stoke for the final game of the EFL Championship season in a game which could secure survival for both or could see one of them end up in League One. But who is it going to be and what is going to happen? It's going to be a crazy 24 hours between Friday and Saturday afternoon as the pressure starts to build and the hearts start to race as Derby County take to the field at Pride Park Stadium for one last time in the EFL Championship for the 2024-25 season. Now, obviously, Stoke City and Derby County haven't had the season that either of them sort of wanted to have. Stoke City were probably anticipating a push for the playoffs. Derby County fans were probably hoping for a little bit more mid-table mediocrity. But Derby County and Stoke find themselves in the relegation battle in what is going to be a very, very tough game on the final day of the season in front of a packed out, sold out Derby County Pride Park Stadium. But let's look at the league table. Derby County and Stoke City are separated by just a singular point. Stoke City on 50 points in 18th place. Derby County on 49 in 19th with Preston North End. Luton Town equal with Derby and Hull City on 48. Those are the 5 teams who could either stay up or be relegated. Only one position is left in that relegation zone after Plymouth Argyle are pretty much ruled out with their terrible goal difference. Now, for Derby County and Stoke, this game is going to be an unbelievably intriguing one. I think it's going to be very different to what many people may expect. And you have to look, obviously, at the home form for Derby County. 9 wins, 4 draws, 9 defeats, 31 points in 22 games. Obviously, a victory would take them up to around 16th place with their positive goal difference. We look at the away form for Stoke City. 19th place for them, 4 wins, 5 draws, 13 defeats, 17 points in 22 games. And then we look at the last 5 matches. Derby County sit in 9th, 8 points from a possible 15. Obviously, that's 5 games, 2 wins, 2 draws, and 1 defeat. Stoke City, 7 points from a possible 15. 2 wins, 1 draw, and 2 defeats. Now, obviously, if we look at where these teams are in the division right now, Stoke City are overperforming. They're 4 places higher than they should be. They've collected 2 more points than they should have. They've conceded 10 less goals than they should have, and they've scored 5 more than they should have. And what a season it has sort of been for Stoke. Obviously, I think they've been through 3 managers. There's been a lot of turmoil down at the Bet365, and ultimately, it hasn't quite gone to plan for them this year, with obviously, I think it was Schumacher who started the season. Then they had Palouche, I can't say his name properly, mid-season. And then obviously ending up on Mark Robbins. You've then obviously got Derby County season. They're 3 places lower than they should be. They've got 8 less points than they should have. They've conceded 6 more goals than they should have, but scored 2 more. Now, obviously, for both of these sides, looking ahead to this game, you look at the league table, they need, especially for Derby, 3 teams below them need to better them for them to go down. For Stoke City, they need all 4 teams below them to better their result in order for them to go down. So you look, and they're probably in the best places to secure survival. Now, heading into this one, you look at the Preston game facing up against Bristol City, you look at Luton Town up against West Brom, and you look at Hull City against Pompey. I think the only team who really are going to struggle to get anything is Preston North End against Bristol City, and that is why this game is probably going to be one of the most boring but intriguing games of the season, because a 0-0 draw, could see both of these 2 teams come away from the game as championship clubs next season. And that is where we sort of have to start to answer this question. Now, I've done a full preview of these 4 games, heading into the weekend. I think I posted it yesterday afternoon, so make sure you go and check that out. But we look at the injury list for both sides. Derby County have Callum Elder, Curtis Nelson, Dejan Brown, David Ozo, Jakob Vidal Zetterstrom, Lars Jorgen Selvson, Ryan Niambi, all set to be out of this game. There's also Jeff Hendrick, who's set to be out. Obviously, we've seen the return of Kmar Roof and Corey Blackett-Taylor in the last game, and obviously Ben Osborne a couple of games before that. You then look at the Stoke City side, missing Ben Pearson, Ender Stevens, Eric Bocat, Jordan Thompson, and Michael Rose all set to miss out. You will have seen them both on screen. And obviously, we've spoke about the form earlier on, but if we talk about it a little bit more here, Derby County picked up 2 massive victories against West Brom and Hull City. But the problem that they face is that 1 defeat against Luton Town, which they should have picked up a point in that game. If they pick up a point in that game, they're safe right now. And, well, would they be safe? No. We'd be 2 points ahead. We'd be pretty much safe, really. And that's the conversation you've got to have. Stoke City, victory against Sheffield Wednesday, against Cardiff City, draw with Luton, 2 defeats, Leeds and Sheffield United in recent games. It's going to be interesting to see how this one does transpire. And if you look at the head-to-head of the two sides, 5 wins for Derby, 4 wins for Stoke, 3 wins down the middle. And I do think it's going to be a difficult task for these sides to be able to pick up, for either side to pick up 3 points. And not because the game is going to be a difficult one for either team. I think it's going to be a game where a lot of it is going to be dictated by what is coming from the stands and what is coming from the dugout. Because if you, after 10 minutes, get news that Preston are winning, Luton are winning, Hull are winning, Derby County need to win. Stoke don't, but Derby County do. If you then get news that Hull are losing, Luton are losing, Preston are losing, both teams can calm down because the table wouldn't really change. Now, realistically, all you need is one of those games to tell you that Hull are losing and the teams can calm down. All you need to hear is one of those teams. And that's why this game, I think, is going to be a very intriguing one from sort of a tactical perspective and sort of a conversational perspective, because neither manager really has to go for it. Now, I personally can't see John Eustace putting a team out for a draw. I don't think he's done that all season since he's took over at Derby. I can't talk to you about his Blackburn Rovers days. If he did that, you can let me know down in the comments. But for me, I think this opportunity to stay in the division is obviously a massive one. And Derby County with a victory and even Stoke City with a loss could stay in the division. Now, this is where it is a very, very difficult conversation to have about what is going to happen in this game and to predict this game. I think in my video yesterday, I think I said that it would be a 1-1 draw. And I honestly could see a 1-1 draw. I could see a 0-0. I could see Derby County winning 1-0 or Stoke City 1-0. But I think everything that goes on in the game is purely going to depend on what comes from the stands, because I bet you bottom dollar, if Hull City start losing, you're going to get the chant, Hull are losing. If Luton Town are losing, you're going to get the chant Luton are losing. You're going to get Preston are losing. You're going to get it. You're going to hear about it, whether it be from Stoke, whether it be from Derby. And you're going to hear, in my opinion, the fan base is sort of pushing their teams not to try and win, or pushing their teams to essentially not lose the game, essentially. Because realistically, the best for both teams is that both teams stay in the division. Now, obviously, for Derby, they want to stay in the division no matter what, so they're going to want to pick up the win. Stoke the same. But obviously, if you get those talking points after 10, after 15 minutes, that Preston are maybe 2-0 down to Bristol City, or Luton Town are 2-0 down to West Brom. Yes, don't get me wrong, results can change and turn around, but if you're drawing with half an hour to play and those teams are losing 2-0, 3-0, 1-0, whatever, you can have that conversation. Like, the players will know the circumstance, the staff will know the circumstance where this game turns into a procession, basically, where you just don't do anything. You're just moving the ball up and down the pitch, and that's what it will be. You're not trying to score, you're not trying to win the game, you're just moving the ball up and down the pitch so the clubs don't get in trouble, essentially. And I think it was a few years ago we saw a game where they had something like 15 minutes added time, and they knew they didn't need to win the game or lose. They knew they could end on a draw and both teams stay in the division, and they just passed it between each other. It wasn't necessarily like one team kept the ball, the other team kept the ball. It was just they played the ball with each other. And I think there was something in the Bundesliga as well which happened like that, where the result didn't change anything. So I think one team scored and they just then sort of essentially the game just went to shit, and they were just passing the ball about each other in the middle of the pitch because it didn't matter what happened anywhere else. So it will be interesting to see what does happen, and I am intrigued to see how like John Eustace and Mark Robbins do then choose to handle this. Obviously for Derby County, like the hope would be that we are essentially secure. I'd like Derby County to win the game 3-0. I said this in the video yesterday. Like, my dream would be Derby County score in the 5th minute, 42nd minute and 51st minute. And we're 3-0 up after half-time and we can just relax. Now, if anybody... Obviously, we're all Derby fans, aren't we here? So, realistically, we know that's not going to happen. But what we saw last year when Derby County faced Carlisle on that fateful day is a massive victory on the final day where all the nerves were settled after 8 minutes. Max Bird scored, absolute screamer. I think it was 8 minutes in, if I remember rightly. I'll try and find out why I'm talking to you. But you had that massive day where Max Bird scored early doors. It completely changed sort of the complexion of the game because it meant that it didn't matter what happened elsewhere because Derby County were winning. So it didn't matter what Bolton did, what Peterborough did. No one could finish above Derby. And what actually happened for me in that game is when Derby County scored early, they then sat off and didn't really need to play. And it gave sort of Carlisle the full opportunity to come and attack us. And I don't necessarily think they did. I'm pretty sure they were already confirmed down that day. So it didn't really matter what happened. And what I think is going to happen in this one is probably going to be quite similar in a sense of I think if Derby or Stoke score early, they're just going to, like, the emotion of the day is just going to completely change everything. And I personally can't see Derby. If Derby go 1-0 down, we're fucked, really, because we haven't come from 1-0 down all season. So the big conversation is going to be what is going to happen? How are they going to handle the day? Obviously, a packed out Pride Park Stadium, something which you don't want to miss as a Derby County fan. But who's going to come out on top? And if I'm honest with you, I don't really think it matters. I think I know there's a lot of people talking about pitch invasions and stuff like that heading into this weekend. And for me, the only way a pitch invasion should happen for Derby, right, is if we're 2-0 down all game, look set to go down, Hull are winning, Luton are winning, and obviously Preston are winning, and we look like we're going down, and then all of a sudden we flip a switch, win 3-2, goal in the 95th minute. That's the only way, which keeps us in the division, only way, in my opinion, Derby County should pitch invade. I don't foresee a reason why Derby will pitch invade should it be a draw or anything like that. That's my personal opinion. Now, for me, I know there's a lot of people that aren't happy about the conversation when it comes to obviously these discussions around pitch invasions. And obviously if you look through the tweet that Derby County put out a couple of days ago, you'll see a lot of people saying that it's embarrassing, blah blah blah. And don't get me wrong, I don't disagree with the sort of conversation around it being embarrassing to a certain degree, because I think there's a certain point in life where you understand the differences between survival and promotion, and there is a massive difference. But for Derby County, for me, in my personal opinion, this survival is just as big an achievement as last year's promotion. We were expected to go up last year. That was an expectation. This season, 13 games ago or 10 games ago or whatever it was, we were 7 points away from safety, completely written off by many of the fans, including myself. I won't sort of turn around and say I thought we'd stay up. I thought once we hit rock bottom, 7 points away from safety, I thought we were donezo. But that's why I believe this survival is such a big achievement for the club and such a big achievement for the fan base that I don't necessarily think we need to sort of jump on the horse and start sort of saying one of those things. I just think we should. I think it's got to be contextualised and it's got to be thought about properly. And if we're going to do it, it's got to be for the right reasons. And it can't be because we've won the game 3-0 and stayed up, and we would have stayed up even with a loss. It can't be for that reason. It's got to be because it's a crazy turn of events where we weren't anticipated to stay up. That's what's got to happen for me. So for me, no pitch invasion. Although if the pitch gets invaded, will you see me on it? Probably. But we'll have to wait and see how the feelings are at full time and see what does actually happen for Derby, because there is that conversation where even though we may end up 1-1 or whatever, the game could be going on elsewhere and we might not know what division we're in at the point of full time. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, you turn on that notification bell, and stay tuned for all of my latest Derby County content. Obviously, last match preview of the season, heading into the last match day vlog of the season. it's going to be an emotional end to the season. I can already feel it. I can already feel the nerves bubbling and building. And if you haven't hit that subscribe button, you haven't hit that notification bell, what are you doing? We're getting ever so close to 2,000 subscribers. If we can hit that by the end of the season, I'll be absolutely like amazed, because we've done an amazing job on the channel, and I'm really impressed with all your feedback, and I really enjoy engaging with all of you. So make sure you stick around. There's stuff coming next season. There's raffles for shirts, raffles for match tickets. It's coming next season. So make sure you're prepared, and I'll catch you in my next video.